What if I told you that everything you believe about the reality surrounding you is a deliberate illusion? That the life you lead, the opportunities that come your way, and even the obstacles you face are not random external accidents, but rather precise projections of something much deeper that originates within your own consciousness. The very fabric of your world is not predetermined. It is, in fact, a perfect mirror of your inner state. For centuries, the guardians of esoteric knowledge, the true masters of ancient wisdom, have been systematically persecuted, silenced, and eliminated. Why? Because they knew a secret that was simply too powerful, a piece of metaphysical technology that, if broadly applied, would dissolve the structures of control. This journey is far more than a simple video about motivation or mere positive thinking. It is a rigorous and deep exploration of the fundamental metaphysical principles that actively govern the universe, principles that have been consistently revealed by mystics, alchemists, and sages throughout history. The mind controls everything. This isn't merely an inspirational phrase. It is the master key that opens the doors to true and lasting power. From the core Hermetic teachings, which claim that the universe is mental, to the latest findings in quantum physics, the message has remained astonishingly consistent across millennia. The reality you experience is a direct, measurable reflection of your consciousness. Why do you believe the powers throughout history went to such extreme lengths, burning libraries, persecuting the Gnostics, and transforming sacred, liberating knowledge into rigid, fear-based dogma? They did this because a human being who has finally learned to truly master their mind is a human being that becomes absolutely impossible to control, predict, or manipulate. Such a person is free not just outwardly, but inwardly, where true freedom resides. The time for ignorance is over. And now, the final crucial question is, are you ready to open your eyes to the truth of your own creative power? If you are watching this video right now, it is not an accident. There is no coincidence here. The powerful force of synchronicity itself has guided these very words directly to your attention. Something deep and fundamental within your soul is awakening and demanding this truth. Now, join me on this profound journey as we unearth the sacred, powerful secrets they desperately did not want you to know. But be warned, once you consciously know this truth, your understanding of the world will be permanently altered, and you will never be able to return to the comforting illusion of ignorance. To truly grasp the foundational power of the mind, we must embark on a historical journey, reaching back far beyond the superficial explanations taught in modern schools and the limited models often presented by contemporary science. We need to trace the origins of a primal wisdom that was deliberately concealed and meticulously buried over the span of many centuries. The concept of the mind as the singular creator of reality begins, most formally, with the ancient Hermetists. Within the depths of the pyramids of Egypt, hidden in the shadows of the sacred chambers, the sages of the ancient school of Thoth understood a truth that modern civilization is only just beginning to acknowledge. The all is mind. The universe is mental. This was not intended as a mere philosophical metaphor or a spiritual platitude. It was taught as the single, fundamental principle defining the structure of creation itself. The Hermetists posited that the universe is a vast living field of mental energy in which every single thought, every emotion, and every core belief acts as a frequency that instantly molds the reality around it. Everything you perceive, everything you interact with, is simply a complex manifestation of this primordial mental vibration. This profound insight predates much of what we call modern knowledge. Long before physics started suggesting that solid matter is merely condensed energy, the medieval alchemists grasped that the ultimate transformation of physical matter was, fundamentally, a spiritual issue, a transformation of internal consciousness. Figures like Paracelsus, the revolutionary alchemist of the 16th century, explicitly stated, "The external world is nothing more than the reflection of the internal mind." This core idea can be historically traced even further back, notably to the teachings of Plato, who, in his seminal work, The Republic, described ideas or forms existing on an eternal, perfect mental plane. For Plato, the entire visible physical reality was nothing more than a temporary, imperfect shadow of that superior mental reality. Even in the face of violent suppression, the truth persisted. The Gnostic scriptures, fiercely persecuted by medieval authorities, explicitly taught that human consciousness is the authentic and sovereign creator of the world. They viewed the material plane as a mere projection or shadow cast by a deeper divine mental order. This knowledge was suppressed because any governing authority inherently fears a populace that recognizes its own inherent divinity and creative power. Throughout the Middle Ages, groups like the Rosicrucians and the secretive Knights Templar continued the tradition of guarding these secrets, knowing that the mastery of the outer world was predicated on the absolute mastery of the inner one. The historical suppression of this truth is a narrative rooted in fear. The Gnostic scriptures, which were considered highly dangerous and subsequently eliminated by medieval church authorities, contained the explicit teaching that human consciousness is the authentic, unbridled creator of the material world. They taught that the material world itself was nothing more than a temporary projection of the divine mind, merely a shadow cast by a deeper, more permanent cosmic order. This knowledge was ruthlessly suppressed and distorted for centuries, fundamentally because any entrenched institution feared the destabilizing power of a humanity, conscious of its inherent divinity and its capacity for self-governance. Moving forward in time, the philosophy continued to surface through key figures like Giordano Bruno and René Descartes, while operating within the nascent scientific framework of the Renaissance, continued to echo the core of these ancient ideas. Bruno, a brilliant philosopher who was tragically burned at the stake for his beliefs, fearlessly proclaimed that the mind is fundamentally a divine spark with the inherent ability to mold and influence the universe, a thought so revolutionary that it was deemed a mortal threat to the established order. René Descartes, though a figure of profound skepticism concerning the material world, provided a cornerstone for this idea with his famous declaration, "Cogito, ergo sum." I think, therefore, I am. While Descartes may not have fully realized the transformative, creative power of the mind, his declaration was a philosophical milestone that firmly placed the mind as the absolute foundation of all perceived reality. This narrative of concealment and the ultimate surfacing of truth reaches its climax in modern times, specifically within the realm of quantum science. This relatively new field has begun to formally articulate the exact same conclusions that were known only to the mystics and philosophers of antiquity. In the 20th century, the famous double-slit experiment delivered a shock to the materialist worldview. This experiment unequivocally revealed that the mere act of observation, the focusing of conscious attention on subatomic particles, instantly altered their behavior, collapsing wave functions into matter. This undeniable evidence confirms what the ancients knew for millennia. Reality is not a fixed, objective entity, but is instead in a state of constant fluid change, entirely dependent on the mind that observes it. The mind, therefore, is not a passive spectator. The consciousness of the observer is actively involved in the creation of the event. Thus, we are forced to conclude that instead of being mere passive spectators, locked into a deterministic, predetermined universe, we are, in fact, the active creators of every experience that unfolds around us. This, truly, is the secret the powerful feared most, the knowledge they sought to destroy across the ages. Now that we have successfully traced the journey of this truth through the minds of ancient sages, from the Hermetists to the quantum scientists, we arrive at the pivotal moment of our exploration, the essential, life-altering truth that the universe is mental. The question is no longer historical, but immediate. What does this statement truly mean? And, more importantly, how can we immediately apply this profound knowledge to our lives to transform the reality we currently experience? To begin this application, we must first accept that the mind is not merely the organ residing in your skull. It is not simply a function of the brain that ceases upon death. The mind, in the deepest metaphysical context of this teaching, is a universal cosmic force, present in the essence of everything that exists. The ancients understood that everything, from the smallest atom to the most distant blazing stars, is fundamentally permeated by a primordial mental vibration. This is the very foundation that allowed them to affirm, with unwavering certainty, that the entire universe is nothing but a manifestation of a singular, universal consciousness. Imagine your individual mind as a specific radiating frequency or vibration. Every single thought you generate, every emotion you feel, is an energy wave that immediately radiates out into the cosmos. Just as radio waves transmit invisible signals that are picked up by receivers, your thoughts and emotions also generate measurable waves. But these waves are not limited to being passively perceived. They actively affect and shape the very fabric of reality itself. The renowned philosopher and spiritual scientist, Ernest Holmes, explained this principle concisely. Thoughts are things which become physical events through a mental vibration. If this concept feels impactful or unsettling, it is only because society has conditioned us to believe that events and circumstances in the material world are entirely external to us, independent, and largely outside our sphere of control. But the entire premise of this suppressed teaching is precisely the opposite. The physical world is nothing more than a manifestation of our collective consciousness, interwoven with your own unique mental signature. Everything you perceive, everything you experience, is the direct, measurable result of the entanglement of your personal thoughts with the universal vibration. This revelation forces us to take absolute responsibility for our inner landscape. Now that we have established the foundational truth that the universe is fundamentally mental, it is essential to comprehend how to effectively apply this powerful knowledge in our daily lives. How can we consciously use our mind, which is deeply connected to the universal consciousness, to transform our reality from the inside out? The answer lies in mastering the fundamental principle that governs this connection: the law of vibration. Every single thought you hold, every deep emotion you feel, and every action you undertake generates a specific vibrational frequency. This frequency is not abstract or merely intangible. It has a direct, measurable, and tangible impact, on your surrounding environment. If your internal vibrations are aligned with thoughts of abundance, peace, and love, that same harmonious frequency is projected outward, consequently attracting more of those very energies into your life. Thus, your mind not only passively reflects what you see, but actively functions as a powerful magnet for what you ultimately experience. Consider a simple, immediate example. Imagine you are constantly preoccupied with feelings of fear, worry, or scarcity. This sustained emotional state automatically generates a powerful frequency of lack or deficiency, which will inevitably draw situations and events that reinforce those exact sensations. If, conversely, you consciously cultivate a positive mental state, replete with confidence, gratitude, and expectation, you instantly begin to attract opportunities that actively help you prosper and thrive. Vibration, therefore, is not a force that is outside your control. It is an intrinsic aspect of your being that you can and must master. The internal work you dedicate to yourself every day, from meditating to deliberately changing your ingrained thoughts and emotions, possesses the singular power to adjust your vibrational frequency. This adjustment is not only a metaphysical phenomenon, but also a practical one. By focusing on elevated, positive thoughts, you actively tune your mind to the highest desires and goals you wish to achieve. One of the most fascinating aspects of this teaching is the profound power of intention. Intention is the conscious, deliberate act of aligning your focused thoughts and core emotions with a clear, specific purpose. When you establish a clear and strong intention, charged with the concentrated energy of your mind, that intention instantly transforms into a powerful seed that begins to germinate in the physical reality. The key to its success lies in maintaining a consistent visualization, focusing entirely on the desired outcome, and holding the unwavering belief that this outcome is possible and already on its way. The power of thought and intention, while foundational, is not sufficient in isolation. For this powerful law of vibration to find its maximum expression in the physical world, it must be coupled with conscious, aligned action. Without deliberate movement toward your objectives, the universe is unable to receive a clear signal on how to manifest on your behalf. It is akin to planting the most potent seed in fertile ground, but then failing to water it. The potential for growth remains, but the physical manifestation stalls. It is crucial to take daily decisions and specific, practical steps that are perfectly aligned with your highest goals and core values. The universe responds not just to wishes, but to energetic alignment, and it uses your physical movement, your action taken with faith and determination, to open the necessary pathways. This process transforms into a cosmic dance where the power of the mind and the commitment of physical action unite to create the desired reality. You cannot passively wait for everything to happen merely by wishing for it. The universe responds precisely when you align with its principles and move toward your goals with both faith and determined effort. This understanding allows us to conclude that the universe responds not only to what we deeply think, but also to what we passionately feel and what we consciously do. The mind provides the initial spark, but aligned action serves as the essential fuel that ignites the transformative fire. As we conclude this journey of revelation about the profound link between your mind and the universe, it is vital to internalize what has been discovered. The ultimate truth is that the mind controls everything. From the earliest epochs, mystics and philosophers knew that reality is not a fixed, solid fact, but a manifestation of human thought, the vibration of our deepest beliefs, emotions, and convictions. Your mind is the sole architect, and the reality you perceive is its grand, ongoing masterpiece. Remember that you are not a victim of fate or random chance. You are the conscious creator of your experience, the one who holds the brush in this vast, co-created canvas of the universe. By fully understanding and applying these metaphysical secrets, you can radically transform your life, knowing that no external force limits you beyond the subconscious barriers you yourself have accepted. You possess the inherent power to rewrite your existence and manifest the reality you desire. The next step is crucial: practice. It is not enough to understand this intellectually. The true magic begins when you take action. Begin today by transforming your subconscious, consciously changing your limiting beliefs, and visualizing the future you wish to manifest.